look so weird without concealer underneath my eyes. The makeup just looks so weird.
Hi guys, I do hope you're well. Today's video is going to be a review on the Makeup Revolution concealer. They came out with 18 shades, only for £4, and is in the drugstore. I can't wait to do this review, so let's get into it. Before I start, make sure that you subscribe, hit that notification bell to get notified every single time I post, and also like the video if you want to see more reviews from me. So I'm going to section out this video in a couple of parts. I'm going to give you some info, then I'm going to go into swatches, application, pros and cons, and whether you should buy it or not. I am going to read some notes off my phone, so that's why I will be looking down. I am around the NC 40. I have dry to combo skin. I can get really dry around here and oily at the same time, and around here is pretty normal, but nowadays I'm super dry. I got the shade C10 in the Makeup Revolution concealer. C9 was so light. The shade above this was way too light for me, and the shade below, which was C11, was just a tad bit too warm for me, and this was the most olive shade that they had. The price of this is only £4, which is a bargain, and you get 12 ml of products, which is, I think, is a little bit below the average amount. You can buy this in Superdrugs in store or online, or the Tam Beauty website. But now I'm going to go into swatches. So first I'm going to swatch this for you. By the way, the doe foot applicator is pretty big. It reminds me of the Sharp Tape. The Shape Tape concealer. It is pretty full coverage, guys. So this is how C10 looks on my complexion. It's pretty olive. I feel like it does have a bit of a orange undertone, but is not that obvious when you blend it away. So I've quickly swatched some other popular foundations and concealers. This is the MAC NC42 Pro Longwear concealer. This is the Fenty Beauty foundation in 300, and this is the Huda Beauty foundation in 340 baklava. So this is how they look compared to the concealer. The concealer has dried down a little bit, and it does look a tad bit more darker than I initially applied it. Well, in my personal opinion, and that's what I think. So I'm just gonna take this, and a lot of product does come out on the doe foot applicator. I feel like a bit too much comes off, but that's okay because I can just scrape it off. I'm just gonna apply it underneath my eyes. Concealer is pretty thick and full coverage. Like you can see, the first application you pretty much covered everything. I'm just going to take a beauty sponge and blend that out for this side. I think it does work best with a beauty sponge. I have used this concealer before, just so you guys know, so I kind of know how it is. And as you can see, C10, it pretty much blends into my skin tone well. It covered everything, guys. It literally covered everything. You definitely don't need color corrector for this, and I do have quite purpley under eyes. So for £4, like, bloody hell, mate. By the way, I used the side that didn't have my foundation. This is the one that did have foundation on it, just in case people are like, sis, what are you doing? It doesn't look cakey underneath my eyes, but I do think it needs a lot of powdering because it is going into my fine lines. Compared to my MAC Pro Longwear, it is going really into my fine lines underneath my eyes. When I normally wear my Pro Longwear concealer, it doesn't do that. So I'm going to apply some on the other side, where I'm going to be using a brush this time, because I know some people use brushes. You literally don't need that much for this, because a little bit goes a long way, which is good. So I'm going to take my Morphe G2 brush, and I am going to blend that away. But I definitely feel like it is more full coverage on the sponge side, don't you think so? Both of the sides pretty much blended out really well. I definitely feel like this sponge side looks a little bit better in terms of the coverage and how it blended into my foundation. So I'm going to powder underneath my eyes. I'm going to use some translucent powder from No. 7, really normal powder. And then I'll come back to you guys and kind of give you the pros and cons about the product. By the way, these are the swatches right now in case you were wondering if they did settle into different colours. Come back, I've quickly set underneath my eyes and I'm loving the finish so far. So let's get into the pros of the concealer itself. It's definitely full coverage and I haven't seen anything like that in the drugstore. The consistency is kind of like a creamy consistency. It's not liquidy at all. It did do well with covering my dark circles underneath my eyes. It didn't make them look grey or anything like that. The price is amazing. It's only £4. Like fam, nowadays you can't even buy a KFC meal for £4, so the price itself is super appealing, and the fact that they have 18 shades is absolutely amazing. I obviously like the packaging. It reminds me of the Kylie concealers, and the applicator itself is super big, which is nice because normally with concealer ones they're so tiny, you just have to like keep on going back into the pot, but this one is really nice. And on the applicator it does have a dip in the middle, so it does get that product up on the wand really nice, and then you're able to spread it. I feel like they can work on this, and I hope to God that they do improve on their medium shade range. I only saw I only saw 3 shades which were brown girl friendly, which had olive undertones and yellow undertones. Personally, I didn't see any yellow undertones, to be honest. I only saw olive and warm undertones. There were only 3, which was C10, C11 and C12. C9, the jump between C9 and C10 is super huge. I feel like they could have put more yellow undertones concealers in between those, and then from C12 they could have put more olive undertones. I would love to see that, and I do hope they improve on the shade range. 18 shades of concealer is pretty big for a brand like Makeup Revolution. The next con will probably be it's kind of dry underneath the eyes. It does set really well, but at the same time it's dry. I'm comparing it to my MAC Pro Longwear, which is more of a liquidy consistency, and the Pro Longwear, it doesn't feel dry, it doesn't go into my fine lines. That's another thing. I feel like at this moment it is going into my fine lines compared to my normal concealer. But that's pretty much all of the cons. Is nothing major. I feel like they've done a really good job with this concealer. The fact that it's £4 and they have a huge shade range, but I think they can improve on their shade range in terms of the yellow and the olive undertones. Like the medium shades need to be improved, and I really do hope they do that. I'm planning to repurchase this. I'm planning to get a shade that's lighter, maybe a contour shade even, because that's how much I do like it. I genuinely do recommend it to anyone. But they are starting somewhere, because personally I feel like drugstore concealers are not brown girl friendly, woman of colour friendly, to be honest, because they always end up ashy AF. I personally haven't encountered a concealer that doesn't look ashy in the drugstore. They are like, they only cater towards paler skin tones. I mean, the most they will go up is in NC35, and I personally don't like to highlight every day. I just want a concealer to cover my under eyes. So it's great that they have come out with something that's super cheap and it's a great product, but again, they can always improve on their shade range. That is the video done. I do hope this video helped anyone out. And yeah, I do hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure that you do like, comment and do subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace.